All right. Hello. Welcome everyone to year number 2 of the pre-med experience. So happy that all of you could join us here live today. Most of you know me from my social media, White Coats and Corgis. I know I've been talking about this conference a lot over the past couple months, and I'm so glad that everything has finally come together and we could hold this event. So I'm just going to be giving you guys a little bit of an overview before we get started, and then we will dive right into our first events. So first things first, I did want to say that this event is going to be recorded. So no pressure to take notes or anything. Everything is going to be recorded, and there's 2 different places where you'll be able to access those recordings. The first one is going to be on our website. So it's premedexperience.com. So if you want to just write that down or save that, open it up on a tab, that website also has the schedule of what we're going to be doing today. So that would be a helpful tab to have open on your computer just somewhere so you can access it and know what the schedule is going to look like for today. The second place that you'll be able to access the recordings is going to be on my YouTube channel. So it's White Coats and Corgis on YouTube. So if you subscribe to that, I will have all of the recordings up there as well. So that way you can access them whenever you want. The other thing I want to mention was that I definitely want this to be an interactive day as much as possible. I'm a first generation student. I was the first person to go to medical school, first person to become a doctor in my family, hopefully, fingers crossed. And so I think one of the really difficult things about that is just not really having anyone to ask your questions to. So I really tried my best to design this conference with that in mind and give you guys tons of opportunities to interact, talk to people, right? Talk to your peers, talk to the people who are presenting today. And so really feel free to ask your questions. That is my goal for today, is for you to walk away with 0 questions remaining about the medical school admissions process, MCAT, all of that good stuff. So open up the chat feature, right? That's what we're going to be using all day long. Feel free to ask your questions during presentations. Like when the person is talking, just feel free to put it in there and they'll try to get to them at the end. And then we also have some sessions that are purely Q&A. So they are just designed to answer your questions, in which case we'll just try to get through as many as we possibly can. So just feel free to put those questions in the chat, and you can also DM them to the specific presenter or panelist if you would prefer to do that as well. So that's it for the chat. So definitely open that up, get that ready so you can ask your questions. And then finally, I'm just going to do a super quick overview of what today is going to look like. So first things first, we're going to start off with our keynote speaker. And then after that, our first session is going to be about the medical school admissions process. So that session is going to take you from the beginning to the end of everything you need to know for applying to medical school. So that's the idea behind that, trying to just, show you all the different steps that need to be taken and give you some advice and tips from people who've served on admissions committees, so that way they can tell you a little bit about what they're looking for at each of those checkpoints for the admissions process. So after that, we're going to have our Dean's panel. So this is a Q&A style session where you can ask your questions to actual deans of medical school admissions, which is a super unique opportunity, and I definitely recommend that you take advantage of it. We have 3 different wonderful deans who are going to give us their perspective on everything admissions related and anything else you feel like asking them. They're going to talk a little bit about their specific school and also more from a general perspective, what deans are looking for in medical school applicants. So that's going to be our next session. And then after that, we're going to have our MCAT session. So this one is going to be really important. If you haven't taken the MCAT yet, please make sure you're present for that session, because we're going to be giving a lot of free resources and discount codes. So lots of good stuff there, right? So you're going to want to really be there, use the chat, right? We're going to be putting as many links as possible, so that way you have tons of different free resources that you can use to study for the MCAT. So be on the lookout for that. And then our next session after that is again Q&A style. So we're going to have 4 wonderful medical students here to answer all of your questions from a student perspective. So I know that it can be a little bit intimidating, I guess, sometimes to talk to people who are more from the admission side. And so I wanted to give everybody the opportunity to talk to someone just like myself, right, who's just been through the process pretty recently, can tell you a little bit about their experiences, what they would recommend, things that they probably wouldn't do if they could go back and do it all again. So feel free to ask any and all questions to our wonderful medical student panelists during that time. And then after that, we have our Global Medical Brigades talk. So this is going to be a really interesting one where we're talking about global healthcare. So this is something that I think a lot of pre-meds are interested in, but don't necessarily have easy access to. So this is a really, really unique opportunity to see what goes on in an actual global brigade, and also see what other opportunities they have, such as, virtual opportunities as well, if you're interested in going on trips or just potentially participating from your own home. So that's going to be next. And then finally, at the end of the day, we're going to have our residence panel. So again, a Q&A style event where we're going to have different doctors talking to us about all different things from the process, applying to medical school, going through medical school, taking board exams, going to residency, and then eventually going out to practice as a physician. So they can give us a little bit more of an interesting perspective of kind of someone who's been through the process already and knows a little bit about the medical field as a whole and kind of what you can expect from your career long term. So that is our plan for today. It's going to be a long day, but so much good information. So like I said before, feel free to come and go as you please, right? This is all going to be recorded, but take a look at that schedule. It's premedexperience.com. That's where you can find all of the dates, all the times that are going to be listed for this event. So you can see which ones you want to attend live and which ones you might want to look back on later on the recording. So that is all I have for us today. So we're going to get started with our first speaker.